Luke, congratulations. Off to a winning start in Saudi. How happy were you with the performance tonight?
Yeah, it was a bit up and down, to be honest. There was a couple of moments where the treble would go in and then it would slide off to the five. But yeah, overall, I think it was a solid performance, but a lot to build on and got to be better tomorrow.
What's it like out there? I think a few players have spoken to us about the atmosphere being a little bit different to what you're used to in the Premier League and a lot of the major events. How would you describe it?
Yeah, exactly the same. It's kind of different. It's a lot of people that are just sort of glued to watching it and not really not shouting out and stuff. And yeah, of course, it's a different environment for us all, but I'm sure that, we can get used to it just for a couple of days of the year.
When you're looking out at the people in the crowd and they're glued to the darts, they're watching the darts. That's not something that you're necessarily particularly used to. How do you deal with that? Because it is very different.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, even when I play in the UK and Europe, I don't tend to be watching what the crowd's doing too much. I'm kind of focused on what I'm doing. So, I can't really reflect on, what they're doing, or I can't remember what the crowd were doing when I was playing, to be honest. You have to, try and be fully focused on playing darts. And I mean, when you sort of walk out, you kind of you notice the atmosphere's a little bit different, and they're not shouting out and stuff like that, but with walk-on songs. But yeah, apart from that, I'm kind of fully focused on what I'm doing. I'm very good at trying to, block them things out.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
Luke, congratulations on the win. Did you ever think that when you were playing the World Youth Championship all those years ago, that one day you'd be one of the big faces going to Saudi Arabia, flying a flag for the PDC in a brand new country?
Not particularly. No, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, whenever it was, Saudi wasn't a big hotspot for any sport, to be honest with you. So obviously, if you'd have said, would you be a part of the World Series in the future, I'd have said yes. But being here, obviously, it's a bit, different. Not what we all would have expected, 2, 3 years ago. But these sort of things come about quite quickly. You don't really get a chance to even process that you're in Saudi and this is the country that wants you to come here and play darts. And there might be a brand new country next year that we all don't expect either. I've always said that maybe Africa would be a good place to go, and we never know. Next year, it might be, if you ask me that same question, I might say I'd never expected, darts to come back to Africa or Kenya or something like that. So, you never know where you're going to play in the future.
We know that over the past sort of 4 or 5 years that Saudi Arabia have made a big push to bring a lot of sports over to their country. Do you feel almost pressure to justify Saudi Arabia offering all this money to the PDC and the players to really, number one, put in a good performance, but two, grow the sport in that country and justify their decision to have this sport here?
Yeah, it's kind of a bit like what I can see, it's like a trial and error. You trial a sport out. If they really like it, they'll continue it. If they don't think that it's working, then they won't continue. So, I think that that's what they will probably do. Saudi will probably try and get every sport that's physically possible over here, and which ones take off, then they will carry on with, I guess, and which ones that don't, they will, say they don't want it anymore. So, I think the ever-growing sport of darts is probably something that every country is going to want in the future. So. If it gets even bigger and Saudi, don't want it anymore, then there's going to be other countries that do. So, I don't feel any pressure that you need to, go out there and perform at such a high level to impress them. But of course, if you do, then it's going to, not just be good for yourself, but also good for the sport of darts to, help them, understand like us guys now how great it is.
And in that match, at points, it seemed like you was distracted a little bit, something to your left. What was going on off stage that you seemed to be looking over at?
Yeah, it was a one of the staff was waving his arms around a little bit. And obviously, because there's no left drop there, it's when people are obviously you can see people walking past, but it's fine. But when someone was obviously being animated about, I don't know what they were doing, but they're throwing their arms around. It's like I can completely see that when I'm throwing. So I was just trying to say, look, stop doing that. Really, that was it. Really.
Cheers, Luke. Well played today. Thank you.
Luke, well done on the win there. Talking about being out there, we saw you in Bahrain last week doing a bit of karaoke with the players, especially Stephen Bunting. I'm assuming this is your first time in Saudi Arabia. What have you got planned for here? Anything similar?
There ain't no karaoke bars over here, so won't be no karaoke. But yeah, we've kind of not really been able to plan too much. You were here yesterday, pretty late. We did actually go to the British Embassy yesterday, and met some of the diplomats and stuff. So we did that, and Today obviously not really doing much. There's not really much you can do. Maybe you could go by the pool stuff. I woke up too late, so kind of just chilled, and then hopefully tomorrow I can get up a little bit early, maybe go to the pool, and hopefully not get sunburned as Nathan Aspinall did today.
Back on the game, we saw that point where you went 5 darts into the nine. The next one sort of deflected out. What was your mind doing there? Was it going straight to that bullseye attempt?
Not particularly. I think the sixth dart was really unlucky actually. It kind of just, there was like a fine line it could have went through and it kind of just went through it so well. But I guess that's because I threw it so good. And if that goes in, then you're going to be thinking about it. In a normal game, I probably wouldn't be thinking about 141, but when there's a lot on the line, you would be thinking of it. So obviously the sixth dart, I wasn't. I threw it well, and it would have been nice to just give the crowd a little bit of that great excitement that the whole thing's on the line, and at least hopefully someone has a shot at the 141. So I was hoping it was going to be me, and then you never know. You can be nervous, and still, I've been many times in my career. I've hit massive shots, feeling really nervous. So you never know it could have happened. But yeah, it's a bit disappointed. I think that's it. Fun didn't go in.
Yeah, and also we saw you averaging really high up in the hundreds at the start of the game, and he's pegging you back, and it's 2-2. And then it kind of felt like your scoring dropped a little bit, but it was your doubles that kind of pulled you out, like the 78 finish. I think the 66 was probably a major turning point. How great for you that is, knowing you can still pull these out under the utmost pressure and come away with a victory.
Yeah, my last 5 games, from the Worlds and last week were all over 100 average. So, there is a game in there that happens like that, whereas it doesn't all click together. My scoring power can be, the best in the world, top two in the world. It's definitely up there. So, sometimes when it's not at your best, it's nice that you can, find something else in, the finishing that really pulls you out the dirt. And it kind of did for me in the end there. It was the big 78 that turned the game around again for myself. And then the 66 was another good finish. And, the 96, the finisher was pretty decent in patches. And yeah, if I can match the scoring tomorrow, then you'll see that 100 average like I usually hit.
Thank you for your time. Best of luck for the rest.
Thank you very much.